Hello, my name is Todd Nessa, and I'm here today to share with you a dream that I had back on the 31st of January of this year. And the dream, I believe, is a prophetic warning for the United States. I don't wish to pretend that this warning is all that unique. I believe there are many. I believe God speaks to many different people and warns people in many different ways through many different sources. However, I do believe that this is a dream that God had given me. It's very vivid, very real. I remember it very detailed here all these many months later. So it's my very first YouTube video, a little behind the curve, and we'll have to do some warning yet even to upload this. But let me go ahead and share with you the dream. And for those of you out here, you wonder what I'm looking at. This is just very simply my prayer journal. This is what I had written this dream down in several days afterwards, after having the dream and then having shared it with my wife and discussing it, and really just kind of getting a little bit of revelation by the Holy Spirit as to exactly what it meant. Because when I first had the dream, I knew it was pretty significant. It had some significant meaning, but I really didn't know exactly what it meant. So I'm going to share the dream, and then I'm going to share with you what we believe was the interpretation as to the meaning of the dream. Here we go. There was this plane. It was a military plane. It was a stealth bomber, big black flying wing that probably all of you out there hopefully are familiar with. U.S. Air Force plane. It dropped like a rock right out of the sky into the middle of a downtown area where there were buildings all around. So let me describe to you what I saw in my spirit, the canvas of my mind and human spirit as I was having this dream. There was these buildings all around. I don't know what city it was. I don't know if it even was an actual city at all. It was a city in my dream, but there are buildings all the way around, and in the middle there's this kind of like blocked off where there are no streets or anything. It was just a grassy park area right there in the middle. And this plane comes down and it crash lands right there. I mean, just falling straight down, literally like a heavy boulder, heavy rock out of the sky, and landing right there in this park. And what happened was the pilot gets out of the plane, and it's, you think everybody, nobody could survive such a horrific crash, because it was horrific. This plane falling out of the sky. I mean, no one would survive that. You would never expect it. It was very traumatizing for whoever witnessed it. And then this female pilot, and possibly there's some significance as to the pilot being female, but the female pilot, this pilot plane gets out, and they're walking around and they're talking and interacting with everybody. Now I'm going to kind of refer back to my notes just so I can remember some more of the details. But like I said, no one would expect her to survive. The crowd had gathered around her as she's out there talking, interacting, because everybody's shocked. It's like, how can this lady, just be out and about after what had happened and talking? And so everyone who was gathered around was interacting with her and could not believe their eyes, as she could have survived such a crash and been totally intact and talking to everybody. You think she'd be a little like, dismembered pieces just from the force of something such as that. So what happens is she's interacting with everyone, and everybody's interacting with her, and then all of a sudden people start to realize that something is terribly wrong. And here, let me read from there. Then gasps came from the crowd. Gasps. People were just, their jaws dropped as they realized something. They realized that she was basically she's a walking dead person. That there's no way she could have survived. And here's why. All of a sudden, she had rapid swelling in her right eye. Okay, so her eye just starts really, really swelling up, and it swells shut, seeming the size of a baseball. And then everyone behind her, who were gathered around, who were standing behind her, saw there was a mortal wound that was not visible from the front. So from the front, she looks very normal, until this big eye starts swelling, very normal and interacting normally and everything. And then all of a sudden, her eye starts to swell, as big as a baseball. And then from behind, they see this huge wound that she has on her back. And it's like the wounds didn't really appear right away. As she was moving around, interacting, they started to appear. Like, all of a sudden the baseball comes out, and all of a sudden this wound just sort of, you couldn't see, it wasn't visible at first, but then all of a sudden it just started to appear, and people started to see what was really going on beneath the surface. But as I discussed this just after it happened, the next morning, and then later the next day, my wife had really felt, just by the Spirit of God, a couple of different meanings as it related to it. First of all, in regards to the stealth, and I was very surprised. I mean, she was very immediate. It's like she knew exactly what this dream meant after she heard it. But the stealth represents, of course, technology. Everything's secret, flies beyond the radar. The stealth bombers were made so that radar systems and traditional stuff can't pick it up and can't detect it, and can go and do its bombing missions or whatever it's going to do, spy missions, and be able to come back and not be picked up by radar. So the stealth relates to that. What was hidden, she said, what was hidden will soon become plainly known to everyone. Remember, the wounds, first they were invisible, then all of a sudden they're visible. In reference to the pilot was overcome by the wound to her eye, and it was a distraction. People were just shocked by it, when they see the wound. And then suddenly later it became evident that the mortal wound that was hidden, what was killing her. Now, okay, so you hear all that. How do we take this and apply it to what's going on with the United States? And here's how I believe. Now, probably anybody that's just not, totally oblivious to and doesn't care about things that are going on in the world. They're just happy being entertained, and with the latest episode of whatever reality TV show, and what's the newest thing that Lady Gaga or somebody's putting out, and that's really all they care about. But people that are really somewhat attuned, you realize there's just something, it's like underneath the surface, you don't really know exactly what it is, but something isn't right. And you just know something isn't right. Here's what I believe this dream is showing, and why I'm supposed to show it to you, is that for a long time, many things have been done in secret, in high levels of our government, beyond even elected government. And we're talking about, areas of government that, we don't put people in places of power in necessarily. They're elected leaders, but these are people that just, they're in different agencies. You got all these huge government agencies. Everything, of course, from CIA, FBI, Pentagon, military branches of service, and the list goes on and on. But there are many things that happen that we don't know about. And I believe that the significance of the stealth bomber is that there are things going on that the American people just totally doesn't have a clue as to exactly what's being done, or what they've been led to believe is actually what is truthfully occurring. So I believe that's how that relates, is that there's some stealth stuff going on, and it's flying beneath everybody's radar. Nobody's picking it up, but it's still going on. It's still occurring. And soon, at some point, these gaping wounds will begin to appear, and everybody will see and be shocked. Their jaws will drop as they see the mortal wounds. And I believe the pilot related to the status of our country, and the mortal wounds of the pilot are mortal wounds that are in our country right now that people aren't necessarily seeing. Could be as to what's going on in the banking system, in reference to our dollar. It could be lots of different things. There are many things that are not quite right in America that could be could definitely be, very serious, if not mortal wounds to the United States. And I don't want you to think that this doesn't mean that I don't believe that the United States of America will go on, because I do. I believe it will go on. But I feel like we're coming into a time in history where some very serious things have been done. It's like a weapon that's been formed against the American people by people who we trusted are going to be made known, and they have done a lot of damage to our country and to the fabric of our country. And we're not going to really have been aware of it until, this moment in time when they're just as suddenly and we see these huge gaping wounds. So anyway, I challenge you to search your own heart and to prayerfully consider what this dream means. And God can speak to you. Certainly, He's no respecter of persons as to significance in regards to this dream. And again, I don't want to say that I feel any bit unique as far as, I'm only one person that God gives, dreams to. There are many, many people out there that God speaks to and speaks in different ways and gives dreams to. And not only that, to share with other people, but also I believe He gives you dreams in regards to your own life in order to be able to speak to you if He so chooses. So this is a dream I do believe the Lord has given me for you to be able to hear about and be able to ponder in your own relationship with God. And thank you very much for watching this video.